it's Moesoda here, and welcome back to the second of the last episode of the Promised Neverland. So it's been 2 months since Ray has been... So it's been 2 months since Norman has been shipped, and Ray and Emma both need to escape before Ray's shipment date, which is like tomorrow in the context of this episode. Yes, y'all, this is the moment I've been waiting for since the 3rd episode. They finally gonna escape. Before we get into it though, I have to applaud the writing in this episode. It is on point. There are twists and turns and nooks and crannies that make this escape so sweet. So sweet. Okay, let's get in it. So Ray and Emma decide to escape this episode, and their plan involves burning the house down. Yes, I know, it's extreme, but every plan up until this point hasn't really worked out, so I think extreme is necessary. Plus, it's Isabella we're dealing with here. So Ray is gonna start a fire and Emma is going to escape. Potentially with Don and Gilda, that's the first part of their plan. Maybe not, maybe just by herself and leaving everyone else behind. But it's Emma we're talking about here. So you know that she's got some kind of plan in place so that everyone can escape with her. And then their second plan is to create a bunch of distractions, mainly in the woods, so that Isabella can't call headquarters. It doesn't look like people are trying to escape, it just looks like a house fire, and all that kind of stuff. Ultimately though, with these kids, you know, they have some kind of plan up their sleeve. And to really get the full effect of this episode, I mean, I don't understand why you'd be watching this video if you haven't seen this episode. But the nuances of everything in this episode is crucial to how good this episode is. So if you haven't watched it, you should probably pause this video and then go watch it and then come back, and then we can talk about it immediately. It was cool, and I was like, cool, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, you know, and it was good. Guys, wasn't the second half of this episode like the most exciting thing you've seen since Infinity Wars? I mean, like, it was pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. So many things happened in this episode. Like Isabella, when faced with the possibility that her precious merchandise has been ruined, she says, maybe I can save the brains. What? 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 This is what? Did I predict that? I'm gonna figure out if I predicted that, because I'm pretty sure that I said they probably just like to eat the brain. Because like that's what every demon likes to eat, is just human brains, you know what I mean? Emma was a savage this episode. She chopped off of both hers and Ray's ear so that they could escape without the mom, without Isabella knowing that they're not there. Like, she put her ear in a bucket. What? Emma, girl. I see you this episode, Emma. Emma very much impressed me this episode. I know in previous videos I've said things like, you know, she's naive and I don't like her and she's annoying and stuff like that. But she did gain some respect points this episode. I still think that her naivety clouds her judgment sometimes, but she was badass in this episode, you guys. Way to go, Emma. Way to pull it together at the last moment, when it counts the most. Oh yeah, and Ray didn't actually die. He didn't light himself on fire. And if I didn't say that before, Ray was gonna light himself on fire so that the demons couldn't eat him, because he didn't want to be eaten by the demons, and Isabella would get in trouble for losing their prized merchandise, you know? He was the top scorer. He was like the ripe age of 12, the best delicious brain, I guess, on the earth. So she would definitely get in trouble. He felt like, you know, this is the way he wanted it to happen, and he wanted to cause trouble for everyone involved, you know, go out in a ball of flames, as they say, as he was gonna do. But Ray is fine, guys. He's fine. He didn't do it, okay? He didn't do it. Because you know what? Emma thought of a plan. Norman let Emma in on Ray's little plan, and Emma found a way to save him. He escapes with everybody. Don and Gilda, y'all came through this episode. They prepared everything for all of the kids to escape. Backpacks, food, warm clothes, supplies, all of that kind of stuff. And they did it all behind Isabella's back, because Isabella was keeping too close of an eye on Emma and Ray this episode. So Don and Gilda sneaky snuck around behind Isabella's back and prepared everything for all the children. And they told most of the kids about the farm and about Isabella and about what is going on behind the scenes and literally everything. And the kids who are escaping are the kids who are on board with the plan. Emma in this episode said something along the lines of, don't underestimate the kids. They're smarter than you think and they're a lot more mature than you think as well, than you give them credit for. And maybe I didn't relate to Emma in the earlier episodes, but that quote kind of resonated with me this episode because I think I assumed that if Emma was going to escape with the kids that she wouldn't actually tell them the truth, and if she did tell them the truth, is it really her place to tell them the truth? I mean, living in this crazy effed up world, I'm hungry. Living in this crazy like effed up world, I feel like your coming of age in this world is finding out the secret about the farm and then how you deal with it afterwards, like Emma and Norman and Ray. This whole scenario is based on them finding out the grand secret of the farm, and this is how they spend the rest of their life trying to escape or, you know, coming to terms with it. It's part of the personal journey, I think. But, you know, I would probably want to be told too. So it's probably a great discussion for an ethics course. But anyway, they slowly recruited all of the kids. They told each kid one by one, and if they were ready or not, they would decide amongst everybody to tell other kids, and if the kids weren't receptive, they wouldn't tell them. Which, I was wondering about that, because little baby Phil is still left over at the house after all the kids escaped. And I was like, what? Phil? Why are you there, Phil? I think it was Ray that explained it earlier in the episode, but every time Isabella was watching them, she always was carrying a little baby or a child. Ray explained that Isabella was always carrying a child with her whenever she was keeping a watchful eye. You know, she always had a lot of children around her, and he thinks that they were partly her, like, eyes, and they would tell Isabella things that they saw so that Isabella could see everything all the time in every direction. So it kind of makes sense that a couple of the kids would be on Isabella's side because, you know, they are pretty young and impressionable, and I feel like Isabella could, you know, finagle her way into their brain and make them think that what they're doing is okay. And Phil must be Isabella's helper, which is why they probably left him behind. Which is kind of crazy because Phil was in a lot of the episodes and he was always there. And I'm probably pretty sure that maybe the last episode, there's foreshadowing all the way up for Phil. You could go back into each episode and see Phil keeping an eye on people. I'm gonna see if that's true this week. I think I'm gonna rewatch a couple of the episodes and see if Phil is actually the one spying on everybody while Isabella is spying in the other direction. But yeah, I think that's why Phil stayed back. I think he is one of Isabella's informants. Like, with, you know, the informant's like a pretty strong word. I feel like he's just like, hey, they're over there doing that thing. Hey, they just ran into the woods. Hey, you know, like dumb stuff like that kids don't know that they're saying. Ray's character development was awesome this episode. I love how crazy he gets sometimes. He looks like he's literally insane, like a mad scientist or something like that. He's not a scientist, but he's pretty smart, so something like that. Isabella running around acting like a crazy person and getting super mad was so satisfying this episode. Oh my gosh. The entire time I'm just like, you deserve it. B-word. Watching her get tripped up in the kids' traps and trying to figure out what she can do next, and then like ultimately like kind of accepting defeat, it felt like, was super satisfying. Oh my gosh. I was loving every second of it. Well, we think she's accepted defeat. At least I think she's accepted defeat. But it's also Isabella. So like I don't even know if she's probably got some like master plan up her sleeve. And I haven't read the manga. Hi, if you're new here, I don't read manga. I have read 2 manga to completion, and well, at least up until they've had like whatever's available to be read. One was Super Lovers because I saw the first season of the anime and I loved it and I could not wait for the second season and I need to find out what happened. Okay? The second was Eromanga Sensei. I saw the garage kit online and the anime figure I think was pre-ordered around the same time, and I wanted to know where this character was from because it wasn't an anime that I knew. It wasn't a manga that I've seen floating around, and I wondered why they had an anime figure for it. So then I searched around and I realized that it was a manga, and they had a couple of volumes up available to read, and so I was like, let me read it and figure out why there's an anime character. Why am I still holding up my peace sign? Why is there an anime figure for a manga character that like doesn't have an anime yet? I don't get it. I don't get it. So I read it to figure out if I could get it. I still didn't get it, but I think that's probably why I liked Eromanga Sensei a lot more than most people. Like, I didn't think it was like crazy trash. Like, obviously it's trash, but like, you know, like, read the manga first, so like I already knew it was gonna happen. I don't know. I don't like to read manga because I'm a visual learner and I fall asleep as soon as I start reading anything. And plus, like, manga has pictures in it, and then I want to look at all the pictures really quickly, and then I like forget to read it, and then I can't comprehend. It doesn't retain in my brain. I just like anime better. Okay, will I not read the manga? No, like I'll read it if like I really want to figure out what's gonna happen, but manga's not my first thing that I pick when I'm picking things to consume, media to consume. You know what I mean. But I am quite tempted to pick up this manga as soon as the anime is over because I was in my local comic book shop and they had a feature of the Promised Neverland. They had all 8 volumes that are out right now, and I was trying to sneak a peek and see which volumes I could purchase so that I could like line up with the anime and just continue my story, and I saw a few spoilers. So don't go peeking that manga if the anime isn't finished yet and you haven't read the manga, okay? That's just a word of the wise. I should have known that, but you know, I was like, maybe I can just skim through and I can see. And the art was phenomenal in it. I kind of like the art better in the manga than I do in the anime, which, you know, I understand that, you know, someone spends like hours and hours and hours drawing and, you know, they don't have that much time to put into the anime. So I understand that, but the drawing was so good and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much better, I think. So I'm gonna probably check that out later. I'm probably gonna check that out when I'm finished watching the next episode. It airs in a couple days. For the next episode, will they escape? Will everyone escape? Will Isabella be able to contact headquarters? Is headquarters gonna stop them over at the bridge? Is there even a bridge? Oh my gosh, there's so many things that I hope they wrap up because I don't know about a second season, y'all. They're probably going to make a second season just because there's so much of the manga that they haven't adapted yet. But do they? I don't know. I think Phil has had a bigger role than we think that he has, and I feel like there's something going on with that, with him and Isabella and the house. Maybe he's like the house protector or something. I don't know. And I'm really hoping that they actually do get to the bridge because I do want to see what it's like on the outside world of this, what it's like on the outside of this world, you know, in the Promised Neverland. What did you think of this episode? What are your predictions for next episode? Let me know all that downstairs in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next week for the final episode of the Promised Neverland. Bye. And so that Isabella would get in trouble because she lost their demon. So she'd be. And 2, Isabella would get in trouble. And Isabella would get in trouble if, Norman let Emma in on his little plan, and Norman and Emma did say earlier in the episode, but I think Emma or Ray earlier in the episode explained that every time, that was a hard swallow, Isabella was always carrying a child, which Ray believes that I think Phil has a bigger role than I think Phil has had a bigger, what did you think of this episode? What do you hope that they do? What did you think of this?